I'm reminded of another thing in your book, which was just fascinating to me because I find him to be such an interesting guy, is you had this meeting with Steven Spielberg and George Lucas.
Yes.
Shows up. And I think you were unaware that George Lucas was going to be there or was going to pop by. And, well, you can relate what happens in this story, which is pretty startling.
Yeah. What happened was, so this was 2000. It was the beginning of 2012. And I don't know if people remember, but there was a theory at the time that in December of 2012, the world was going to end. Because that's when I believe the Mayan calendar ended, which is, in retrospect, a shaky theory to be making real decisions based on.
They were right about everything else.
Exactly. So, like Conan said, me and Evan were called into a meeting with Steven Spielberg, which was a real treat and an amazing. I'd met him a couple times, very in passing, but it was a thrill, you know. And we got to the meeting and we were waiting in his office for him. It's like a doctor's office. They take you in first and you wait for them to come in. And he came in with George Lucas, which was amazing, which was mind blowing. Wow. Like they're there together. It truly, you know, for like a nerdy kid, like one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my entire life. And at which point Spielberg, if I remember, like, is kind of like making phone calls and doing some stuff as he's like, I need a few minutes, as George Lucas sits down and talks to me and Evan. At which point, very quickly, the conversation turns to like, how's it going? Not great. We're nearing the end of 2012 and the world is going to end essentially. And to which me and Evan are like, is he joking? A question that still haunts me to this day, and I think I know the answer, is, was he joking? I really don't think. It did not appear he was joking. Oh, no. So we tried to prod, and we're making jokes. It's like, oh, like, what's supposed to happen? It's like, oh, a giant fault is going to, earthquake.
No, he's very seriously saying, it's a fault line.
It's a fault line. I'm like, oh, good thing the Skywalker Ranch is on the other side of the fault line. And he's like, oh, that's not a coincidence. Like, and we're like, oh, like what?
He's thought it all out.
He's really thought it all. And so at which point we making a joke like, oh, well, like, if you got a spaceship to escape Earth, like, can we get a seat on that thing? And he was like, no.
Oh, no.
Which again, like, it makes me think he wasn't joking, because if you were joking, you would just say yes to go, like, to at least placate us by granting our wish to go on the spaceship. But no, he said no. And thank God. But yeah, and again, to this day, I am confounded and plagued by that story. I don't know if he had a spaceship. If he did, I don't know if he was on it that day, but it must have been a weird morning.
Yeah.
Have you met him?
Oh, yes.
Do you buy that maybe he thought that was real?
I think it was real. You know what? I would say Spielberg's reaction would probably tell you everything you need to know.
Spielberg was a little bit like, he was kind of like, sorry for my slightly weird friend.
Right. So that tells you that he was absolutely serious. The last time I ran into George Lucas, and I ran into him, and he was like, hello, Conan. I was like, oh, hello, George, good to see you. And he's like, good to see you. And I think at the end of the conversation, it was brief, but I just said, I've got to, go. I got a show to do, show to tape. And he said, you don't tape a show, you're retired. And I said, no. And he went, yes, you are. Like, he knows that, so yeah, I'm not on a network, but I'm not retired. But, so I'm not, whatever. But he was telling me that I was retired. And I was saying, well, I'm not. I have a show, and I also there's this and that and that. And he was kind of like, no. Almost as if I was, isn't it sad that Conan doesn't know?
Someone should have told him that a long time ago.
I have a similar, I actually had heard a similar story where...
That I'm retired?
No, yeah, exactly. That you're retired. I don't know what I'm doing here. And I want to
Conan, where have you been? I haven't seen you since Vancouver when I took that
Thank you for
photo.
coming out of retirement to record this episode.
I am the J.D. Salinger of comedy.
I had heard a story that George Lucas was on the set of the Solo movie and went up to the lead actor, whose name is Alden I don't know his last
Ehrenreich
name.
or something.
Ehrenreich,
Yeah,
which
something like that.
Alden Ehrenreich, and went up to him and went, "Hey, congratulations on Baby Driver." And he said, "I'm not in Baby Driver." To which I was told George Lucas responded, "Are you sure?"
Yes, that's what he told me. He essentially told me,
he doubted.
"Don't you realize, Conan, you don't make shows anymore, and you haven't since you left NBC." And I was saying, "No, I do make. No, you don't." And so, you know what? I'm starting to think he's right.
He's right. This isn't happening. The world ended on 2012, and this is all like a weird echo of George Lucas's consciousness that we're living in.
I think, the world did end, and we're living. He survived, and we're living in his mind.
This is all a construct. If anyone could come up with this, George Lucas. The guy's a world builder. He does good world building.
Hi, my name is Carol Leifer, and I feel fresh about being Conan O'Brien's friend.
Fresh?
It's new, it's fresh.
It's new, it's fresh.
Yes.
Well, we have crossed paths many times, but never had a chance to sit down. And this is a treat for me because I've wanted to talk to you. And this is our opportunity right now.
It is.
Because we've worked side by side.
Mm-hmm.
We just did the Oscars together.
Yes.
You were a writer on the Oscars. I was hosting the Oscars. And yet there's all this running around and we keep passing each other in the hallway. So it's nice to sit down because you have, in my opinion, one of the best careers of any comedy writer I can imagine.
Wow. High praise.
I mean, think about it. Think about
Yes.
this. These are the shows, and I'm explaining it to you as if you've lost your memory in an accident. I'm a doctor that's come in, and I'm telling you, your name is Carol Leifer. You've written on Seinfeld, Hacks, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Modern Family, Saturday Night Live, The Larry Sanders Show, and 10 Academy Award shows.
Yes.
That's insanity.
Yeah. Oh, and you're leaving out the Colgate Comedy Hour.
Yes. You killed it in 1952.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You were a fetus when you wrote for that show. There's so much to talk about because there's the world of comedy writing, but what I want to start with is you come from the world of stand-up 1970s, and I've talked to people like Susie Essman about what it was like in those early days to be a woman who's trying to do stand-up comedy in the 1970s.
Yes.
And it was, I would guess, not easy. Not an easy thing to crack.
You know what? It was actually quite the opposite because there were not many women, and I always thought that was a tremendous advantage because I always talk about the 70s stand-up. They were looking for comedians.
Right.
But it's really true. So when I started, there were like 4 or 5 women comics. Rita Rudner was of my generation. And they wanted women comics. And I always felt I got so much support from the guy comics. I mean,
good.
Yeah,
Good.
A lot of people thought it was a little rough and tumble and all that. But I got so much support. So I found it to be advantage. I mean, what was obnoxious was way back then, they wouldn't put on 2 women following each other. It was like you had to be separated. Like we'll have the singer, then the ventriloquist, then a woman, then the monkey act, then maybe another woman.
You're a novelty. It's like it's like someone who can separate both shoulders,
Right, the contortionist, then a woman.
Yeah. Another oddity that represents 50% of the population and is responsible for the continuation of our species.
Right.
One of those things. It's so weird.
I could follow a bearded woman.
Yes.
But not a regular.
I've been mistaken for a bearded woman, John. It's so interesting to me because you get started in this time, and the thing that always fascinates me is what's the impetus? What makes Carol Leifer, as a young woman, decide I'm going to go swim upstream against the current and get into this profession? I mean, it's strange enough in those days when a man decides to do it, but where did you come from? What made you want to do this?
Well, I think as always wanting to be a performer, like most people's greatest fear is speaking in front of large groups of people. Most performer's fear is not speaking in front of people.
Right.
You know
right.
what I mean?
You had it in you. You wanted to be in front of those people.
I did. And what I liked about stand-up was anybody can do it. You know, I was going to school at Binghamton. Paul Reiser was in my theater group.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me, like one day, during the summers, I go to these comedy clubs and on audition night, and I perform. And comedy clubs were so new then, So when he was talking about clubs, I was like, this guy goes to clubs? What is he, like Vic Damone?
Yeah.
Performing at these places. So he was like, anybody can go on. So I always loved that about it. And I still love that about stand-up. It's like, you want to go on. It's not like an actor where you have to audition and,
Right. Or a musician where you need to have your tuba with you.
Yes.
You can just walk in, you can be somewhere, you can go up, and you can do a set.
Exactly. And the first time I went on my first audition, it's also something about being young and having a lot of balls that you don't have later on in life.
You have more to lose later in life,
yes,
I've noticed.
Yes.
That I completely agree with what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
There's a period in my life where I had a $380 a month apartment. I had a beat-up 1973 Plymouth Valiant. And I'd do anything. I sold my body for sex. And enjoyed it. And often would,
Win-win.
Win-win.
Okay.
I wouldn't even take the money afterwards. But yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I went on audition night. My first audition night, I killed. It was amazing. And I thought oh my God, this is not only so great, it's so easy. I'll be on Johnny Carson next week. This is amazing. It wasn't until the second time that I went on that I completely bombed. So bad that I invited friends from college to come see me because I was like, I'm doing great. And you can and I had a tape recorder on the table, and you can actually hear my friend in the middle of my set going, oh
man.
Muttering how horrible it was going over. So then I saw to be a stand-up comedian, it takes some work. You have good nights, you have bad nights. There are a lot of factors that go into it, who you follow, what time of the night you go on, how inebriated the crowd is. So you have to learn to negotiate all that.
You talked about Carson. I know your real break came with Letterman.
Yeah.
Because Letterman's show, which was, such an influence on me, I think I'm 17 or 18 when he does the morning show, and then switches over to the late night show. So I'm maybe 19 years old when he starts the late night show. And comedy is my religion as a 19-year-old.
Right.
And so I become a total acolyte, and I'm looking at David Letterman saying, oh, this person's showing me the way. You knew Dave.
I didn't.
You didn't know Dave?
No. In 1980, kids, I was in a contest called the New York Laugh Off. And it was a contest, of comedians. And, that's so funny to me today. It's back then, that's how you got exposure. You were in contests, you know?
Right.
And it aired on Showtime, and Letterman saw that and recommended me to The Tonight Show for that.
Okay.
And then The Tonight Show saw my big laugh-off set, and they passed.
Yeah.
So then when Dave got his show, they just reached out and said, would you like to be on?
And he put you on a bunch of times.
Yeah, I was on 25 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they gave me an open door. It was whenever you have a new set, come on, which was amazing.
There's such almost like a lemmings or sheep kind of mentality where people don't think you're the real McCoy, but once you've been on a show and there's tape of you and there's a famous host saying, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Carol Leifer, suddenly they're like, oh, right.
Yeah.
You're one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you were one of them before. You just, it's a magical thing.
Yeah, but not really until you go on TV. I mean, to this day, my first appearance on Letterman is one of the best days of my life.
Yeah.
Because suddenly you're not just, kind of in it, you're really in it.
Also, it was a different era than today. I mean, I talk about this a lot, and when I talk about it to my kids, I sound like an old wizard telling people about the beginning of how Earth formed.
Right.
But
it was so different that my dad bought a VCR to tape me. At the time, it was like $1,000.
Oh, wow. Right. Well, they were made of gold. The only VCRs were all gold. They were made by Rolex. Then they got into the watch business. But one of the things that was interesting, too, is I've talked to people from that era, ahead of you, but they were like, Steve Martin or comedians of that generation. They would say they would go on Johnny Carson's show, and the next day they would walk down the street and people were shouting out of cars because half the country watched. Mm-hmm. It was the equivalent of being on the Super Bowl, except it happened every night.
Yeah.
Because there was literally one late night show. Uh-huh. And I remember when there was, there's Carson and then Letterman after Carson. And occasionally there'd be another show that they would put up, but it wouldn't last that long.
Yeah. It was Merv Griffin during the day.
Griffin, yeah, during the daytime. But who was watching TV during the daytime? I wasn't. So to me, it was, if something happened, I rembered when David Byrne, for the Talking Heads, went on Letterman, and Dave Letterman interviewed David Byrne. And everybody I talked to the next day, because we were all in college, we had all seen it.
Yeah.
There was no, it was a time when we were all gathered around the same campfire. Mm-hmm. And so there was a magic to that, which gave you this legitimacy and power.
Right. The Freddie Prinze story. He did, I think, like one appearance, and then he got like Chico and the Man the next day. Got his own series.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was very young. He was like 20 or 19 or 20.
Yeah. But it was definitely like a star maker.
I know that, like me, you probably grew up very Roman Catholic.
Yeah.
Did you do the whole 9 yards? Were you choir boy?
Altar boy.
Altar boy.
Did the funerals. Did you do the funerals?
No, I was because they could tell that I could actually enunciate pretty well. They made me what's called the lectern, which is the guy who reads, certain passages.
We didn't have that.
Yeah, well, they would, it's usually like the priest does it, but they would have someone step in and read a couple of passages. And they were like, this guy can enunciate and he knows how. Yeah, literally. They were like, this kid enunciates. And in Boston, nobody enunciates. Everyone else just sounded like they had a bunch of clamshells in their mouth. And then in the corner, I was saying, and on the third day, he rose. Jeez. In fulfillment of the scripture, he's seated at the right hand of the Father. He'll come again in glory to judge the living and the dead. And they're like, we got to use this guy, So they had me doing that. But I envied the, like you get to ring the bells. I didn't get to ring the bells.
I was a bell guy.
You sound like I'm a bell
bragging.
guy. Yeah,
you're bragging.
Yeah, it's like I'm getting guys for a bank job. Do we have a bell guy? I'm a bell guy.
I held the water. You ever held the water for the?
No. Where they fling the water at people.
So I had the little bucket and thing. Yeah, I did the whole thing over at St. Cecilia Parish in 1985. So yeah.
Wow, you guys are so cool.
Yeah, aren't we?
You were at St. Cecilia's in 85, huh? I was at St. Ignatius, St. Lawrence. I worked a couple of churches. This is the 70s. I'm an older guy than you, but the 70s was really the time to be in a Catholic church. I'll tell you something. But no, I remember we had a priest that used to, all of our priests, were pretty much, they were either Italian or Irish, but we had one guy his thing was he had always had change in his pocket. And he was real like a club comic, and he would jingle the change in his pocket and walk around and, and give the homily. And it was always in like a very folksy and kind of working jokes in and stuff. And then he'd always end the mass by saying, they're supposed to just say, so go in peace to love and serve the Lord. That's what they're supposed to do at the end of the Mass. And be like, go in peace to love and serve the Lord. Have a nice day. Have a nice week. See you around. Jeez. Like, what's Jesus think about this ending? Different. Did you do confession? Did you go to confession?
Did confession.
I always froze in confession. I didn't know what to say. I would make shit up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would say I murdered a man. I would say anything, but I didn't confess anything real.
I would. Nothing. There's nothing going on back then where I didn't walk in when I was 13 and say, oh yeah, committed adultery. There's none of that. It was.
I coveted my neighbor's wife. You got to see this broad.
Yeah, no, I did all that. I did the confession. I went every Sunday. Did the gave the money.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, my being Italian, you just give the money, and we never put it in the envelope that you're supposed to put in. They give you like an envelope, you put it in, and then you put your name, so you gave. You just peel it off, just a crisp 20 right into the.
Nice. That made me think of like some wise ass kid. There was it was Christmas time, and they had this beautiful creche, the little the manger, and there was everyone's gathered around, Mary, and everyone's there. They're the shepherds, the wise men, the sheep, the donkey, and they're all looking over in great reverence. And some wise ass had taken the baby Jesus out and put a $20 bill down.
Oh,
so it looked like, it's the almighty dollar. And I remember really thinking that was funny, and my mom swatting me, saying, "No, that's not funny." But I don't think they ever found that Jesus. Something I really appreciate about you is that you have your performing persona. And I've noticed whenever I'd come in and talk to you in the dressing room beforehand or afterwards, or even when I talk to you here today at the podcast, you are a very quiet, thoughtful man.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if you encounter, you're so well known out in the world when you're yourself, you're with your family, with the kids. Are there people that want that other Sebastian? Do you know what I mean? And you are a very dignified, intelligent, quiet guy who is not performing at this moment.
Yeah, people do think that's who I am on an everyday basis. Kind of not loud, but like overexpressive and whatnot.
Mm-hmm,
when I get together with you, we're just kind of talking. It's normal and what have you. So, yeah, listen, I'm not life of the party by any means. All right, and I think that's the misconception with some comedians where they think, invite the comedian's going to make the room laugh. If you invite me over to your house and there's other people there that I don't know, I tend to be, I don't call it shy. It just I tend to, it takes me a while to warm up to the group.
Yeah.
Even when I do these things, right? These podcasts, which I don't do a lot of them just because, I don't know. I just feel like, is this going to be an environment where I'm going to be comfortable to kind of be myself and like express my feelings? And then obviously with you six, I fit right in here. But
we like to think it's a welcoming environment.
No, but like sometimes you go in, it's like, I don't know. What do we
Well, also, I've noticed that a lot of people think comedy is a thing. Like you hire a plumber, they come over, I see what the problem is, and they fix it. And I'm always trying to explain to people, they'll say like, why don't you just come over into this situation and do that Conan thing and get everybody laughing. And I'll start asking questions like, well, what's the occasion? What's the room? And they act like, what are you talking about? Just come and do the thing.
Yeah.
And I'll say, comedy is so hard, and it's also so conditional on where are we? Where are we? Who's there?
Mm-hmm.
What's the backstory? As you know, if there's a really high ceiling, that's not good.
Yeah.
You want some compression in the room. If people are eating while you're doing your thing, that's not good. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've had nightmares still of doing things at the, what's the really fancy hotel that goes back way, Waldorf Astoria.
Oh.
Waldorf Astoria the Waldorf Astoria has this famous ballroom where they would do, whenever someone was retiring, like Tom Brokaw is retiring, Conan, go do, you're going to go and talk about Tom and get big laughs for 15 minutes at the Waldorf Astoria. And you think there's a ballroom there that I still have nightmares about because it's really wide, really deep, ceilings are really high, and everybody's eating a Caesar salad. And you just hear, silverware. And I think again and again and again, it's about what's the context? What's the room? What's the environment?
Yeah.
And when you're in an environment where you can really light things on fire and have fun. And you also know when you're in an environment where, what is this, an aquarium? Like, why am I here?
Yeah.
These people, I don't even think know that there's going to be anybody doing anything funny. It just feels, it's very off-putting, and you need the conditions to be right.
Yeah, I think that's the misconception. You could just put comedy up wherever and it's just going to work. I remember early on where people, the corporate event, corporate events, generally speaking, are notorious for this. We're like, we're going to have a comedian, and then you get there and then it's just a dance floor and then the people. It's like you got to have the people near me. You can't be, 40 feet away.
Right, you're not Mussolini.
Yeah.
You need people. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So then we would have to do a quick adjustment and go, all right, I'm going to perform now on the dance floor. Now I'm going to have to go, and so you got to make it right. And it works in life too, I think. Sometimes I think you're in a situation where it's a social setting and, maybe the expectation is, for you to be funny, but you even look at the environment and go, this ain't the environment for me to like excel here. So then I go like, I'm like a shut-in. I don't say nothing. And then my wife's like, why aren't you talking? I go, it's just not right. It's I don't know. I feel uncomfortable sometimes around like, went to a birthday party yesterday, kid's birthday party, right? Yeah. I just, I don't know. I just felt like I'm just going to hang out with my kids here because I just didn't feel like any like pockets or any situations where I could get involved and really kind of
start to get something cooking.
Yeah.
Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about. I was at a thing once. I was at an event that I emceed, and they didn't tell me this, but it was all to raise, it was a really good cause. It was to raise money for, wounded military vets. And so it's a great cause, and I was really glad to do it. And it's this big event. I'll never forget, I'm backstage, and I'm going to go out, and I know what I'm going to do. And just before I went out, they came out and they played taps. Oh, dun, dun, dun. And they played taps, and the whole room gets really solemn. And then a voice of God just went, "Ladies and gentlemen, Conan O'Brien." It's like, this is this is like a dare, How do I get from where we are now, which is very sacred and solemn and appropriate, but why did you want a comedian to come on after that?
Yeah. I think we're going to light it up, like, oh, it's very somber. Now the comedian's going to come out and make everybody laugh. But I mean, it's difficult to come out to that environment. I did something similar to I was at a 9/11 gig, and they show a video of 9/11 and the people and this and that, and then they please welcome Sebastian, and I come out and I'm like, okay, let's get into my dad. My dad.
Or also you're doing comedy about how you've had a hard day. Oh boy, the day I've had. Oh really? Did 2 towers collapse? Oh shit. And thousands of people. Hold on. I know, but let me talk about my day. I mean, it's just impossible.
Yeah.
It's like a Harry Houdini thing where it's like, we're going to take Sebastian Maniscalco and wrap chains around him and put him in a bank vault and throw him in the Hudson River. And then let's see if he can get out.
Yeah.
It's funny because you mentioned something that I like to talk about occasionally, which is you talk about life of the party. And this is a common misconception, but I've often had people over the years say to me, "Oh, you must have been the class clown." And I've mentioned this before on the podcast, and I think, oh no, I was not the class clown. I remember the class clown, but I was not that guy. And most, I would say almost all of the comedians I really like were not the class clown.
Mm.
And I'm sure there are so many people that are huge fans of yours and would think like, oh my God, if I could have been in the 8th grade with Sebastian, he would have just been hanging from the ceiling and being crazy. And I just knowing you and how smart you are and talented, I'm thinking, no, I don't think that was Sebastian.
Yeah. No one, if you were in 8th grade with me, you would have not known I was in the class. I actually looked at the class clown as I was sitting watching him going, sit down. It's not funny.
Yeah.
So no, I was more of an observer. I wasn't the center of attention. Now, when I got up in front of the class to do a book report, or if it was
Yes.
something that I had to get up and do, then I was funny. But like, the rest of the year, I wasn't saying much. So never the class clown. I never thought the class clown was funny. I could tell who the class clown is. If it's a comedian, that guy was I'm not into class clowns.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I think they all end up in prison, at least for a while. They do routinely go to prison. And then they come out and they're not class clowns anymore. they have a whole different attitude about stuff isn't as funny to them anymore.
Hi, my name is Sebastian Maniscalco, and I feel honored about being Conan O'Brien.
That's very sweet. That's very nice of you to say that.
Although, listen, I know we've met.
You've done the show many times.
But we haven't really had a relationship outside the show. It's not like I'm calling you going, what are you doing Friday night? We're having some wine. You want to come by? I just don't know
I'd
why.
love it if you had done that. I would love to have.
But you didn't do it for me either.
Well, that's not going to happen. Sebastian, there are rules, I was the host of the show. And so no matter, you've become huge, you're massive, you're as big a comedy star as I can imagine. But still, because I was the host of those shows, I had to have a wall up.
Okay.
You understand?
I do understand, but my question is, being a host of a show like that, right? And you got a lot of people coming through the door day in, day out. Have you made friendships over the years with a lot of your guests?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I have with a pretty good number. You just click with people, and one of the things that it takes is just bumping into them someplace else. That's usually what has to happen, is you bump into them someplace else. So I'm sure if I bumped into you and we were hanging out, you would have thought, this is the greatest fucking guy I ever met in my life. And then you would have signaled to the waiter, more wine over here. And I'd have said, let me get it, Sebastian. This is on me. And you'd have been like, I love this guy. And then the next thing I'd be at your house.
Yeah.
That would have happened, but we never bumped into each other.
Okay.
Because you were very careful not to bump into me.
Yeah, I didn't go out much.
When I was around.
No.
You were always out on the town, and the minute you read Conan O'Brien's in town, you would lay low.
Yeah.
You would lay low until I passed through. No, I'm very happy for you. It's funny. I was trying to think of you're a very funny comic. You are an amazingly successful comedian, and you've done really well as an actor. And I was trying to think, what is it that Sebastian does that always made me laugh whenever you would come on the show? And I realized today it was your amazement. You do amazement better than most comedians I know. You're totally amazed by how screwed up or fucked up something is.
Yeah.
And that is a big part of your personality. And you stretch it out. Your physicality is really great, but you have your personality like inflates when you're saying, what's going on with this?
Yeah.
I don't understand. And there are a lot of comedians that do what's going on with blank. Your amazement you're the Olivier of amazement, I think. You really are. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm constantly shocked and amazed at, whether it be human behavior or situations or what have you. I just have an exaggerated way of looking at things. It's been the way I've kind of looked at life since I was a kid. So it's not like it's something that I'm putting on for. I mean, obviously, it's comedy, so you have to exaggerate a little bit, but the seed of it is coming from complete awe and shock of what I'm seeing. Yeah. So, that tends to be kind of the core of the comedy.
But you know what's great is you tie it in with your history as an Italian American. You know, your dad. I know, and we'll get to this because it's a huge part of your movie. And I cannot believe you got Robert De Niro to play your dad. Yeah, I mean, this is most. There are people out there that say, "I want to make a movie about my life. I'll find someone to play my dad." You know. And I don't even want to know who I would be able to get. It would.
My wheels are turning.
I know your wheels are turning. It would not be Robert De Niro.
Orville Redenbach.
But I'm really so. I think that you do this very. Yes, we all do that. We exaggerate. We take who we are really, and then we turn up the knob to like 15. For the comedic sake, but the core of it is pure. And what you do is, it feels, it's a very Italian attitude about what the fuck is this all about.
Yeah, it's in the culture. So the upbringing and my father is a huge part of my comedy, just because, you know, he came from Sicily. He's when he was 15 years old, and he brought a lot of those old world values to America with him. And then in the upbringing, those kind of values were passed on to me. And it's just, I notice Italian people. I just did a TV show, and the other actress on the TV show was Italian. And when Italians get together, it's almost like other people are looking at us, and it's like we speak like dolphins. They don't even know the communication. Like they're like, I thought there was going to be a fight that was going to break out at any minute when you guys were talking, but it was, we kind of just know there's a familiar way how we communicate with one another. And then when we start speaking outside of the culture, a lot of people tend to see it and go, oh, wow, this is a different kind of take on life. And the take comes from pretty much my dad.
Yeah.
Who's a huge personality and has a lot to say. And I don't know. I just took basically what we were talking about at the kitchen table as a kid and then made a living out of it.
I have said for many years that it all starts at the kitchen table. That's where it started for me, was a lot of brothers and sisters and Sunday dinner. That was the one constant, was Sunday dinner. And then we'd be there and you'd just try and see who could crack up the table the most. And that's where it starts. I really believe it's the same thing. But what's interesting to me about I think you've said that there's almost a negativity with an Italian point of view that's built in. Is that true?
Constantly negative. Everything is always bad. Nothing is ever good. We can't talk about it being good, because if you talk about being good, something bad's going to happen. So that's
it's just so sad.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And it's like I now have trouble enjoying the fruits of my labor. Right? I don't know if you guys have this problem, but like I'm at a point in my life where I should really be extremely happy about what's happening to me.
Yeah.
Yet there is a, part of me that is always kind of looking for the next thing. And am I doing enough? I got a podcast. Is it good enough? I'm doing a TV show. Is it good enough? So I can't sit there and relax.
Right.
And I don't know if that's just me, or is that people who get to a certain level in their career and feel like they got to maintain that level, and you can't relax until. I'm reading this book called Die with Zero, right? Because I'm having an issue with spending money. And
the issue being you're spending too much, you're not spending it.
I don't know what to spend. Like I grew up working middle class.
Right.
And it was money was a huge topic in our house, and it was always save your money, because you don't know, if your tongue is going to fall out and you can't do this anymore, right?
Which does happen.
I wouldn't worry about that one particular thing. Give yourself a break on that.
Yeah. During COVID, you weren't worried at all about COVID. You were worried. Don't worry, you're clear on COVID. My tongue! The tongue could go at any time. What?
Yeah. Well, I mean, COVID was a great example. It's like you save for a rainy day, right? And the rainy day came, and I was still going, like I didn't even use the savings.
Right.
I was just trying to figure out how I could make money and live off whatever, doing corporate Zooms. That's what I was doing. I wasn't doing like stand up in my living room, but it would be like a moderator asking me questions, and I would be making the company laugh on Zooms. I did like 38 of these things.
Oh
Okay.
my God.
Now,
Over
let me just put this in context for our listeners who don't know, and many people are aware of your massive success. You sold out 4 shows at Madison Square Garden. That's insane. That's an insane achievement. That's you and a microphone sold out Madison Square Garden, 4 of them.
How many of those people were on Zoom, though?
Yeah, no, it's half.
To be fair, they put a lot of TV screens. Look at me. Hi, everybody. I'm 60. I don't know if you've met me.
I think that works.
When I Zoom, it's a TV. I was picturing televisions with rabbit ears and a Zoom coming
Sitting
over
in
it.
the seats? The televisions are in the seats?
Let's just let it go.
Okay.
But my point is, Sebastian, I'm just wanting to put it in context for people that you've had this insane, there are plenty of people in the business that book a sitcom, but they're being careful with their money or this or that. You've had an unprecedented level of success that I can promise you right now is not going anywhere. You have talent and ability, and it's not going anywhere. And you have a devout following. But it's fascinating to me that, when it stops for a little bit, you're thinking, oh my God, how am I going to make the rent? Yeah. And to me, this is a very common situation. And I do think that it may not be a coincidence that your dad immigrated here because, famously, Bob Hope, who, biggest comedian maybe of the 20th century, he immigrated from Wales as a kid and was incredibly poor growing up and tried to make it as a boxer, and his family were like stonemasons. He had nothing, and he scrounged and finally made it, and then bought up all the orange groves in California when he started making money. And by the time he's in his 90s, he's, I think, the richest entertainer in the United States of America. He's just an incredibly wealthy man. And I know for a fact that he would go into the Valley and with coupons for Carl's Jr. To me, that shit doesn't go away. Yeah. When you have, and although you didn't experience that maybe firsthand, you inherit it from your dad, and it's very powerful.
Yeah.
So, to me, it makes sense that you're that way.
Yeah, but my whole challenge now is I got like one foot living in that world, and I got a 1 foot living in the world I'm in right now, and I'm trying to just be a little bit more relaxed when it comes to enjoying my success. I guess that's the struggle I'm having at this current point.
Right.
In my life.
It's a good problem.
Yeah, it's a good problem.
But I know what you mean. I know what you're talking about. And I recommend medication. A lot of it, and all kinds. Don't even just get it from other people. Don't even see a psychopharmacologist. I think just get it, random pills from other people, and try them out.
Okay. Terrible advice.
I don't know how you feel about this, but you and I are both people that I get my energy the way a plant needs the sun. I need an audience to kind of be letting me know what's happening, and so I never did anything in film, and was never something I even thought about. And then I had this experience last summer where I shot something and I found myself, it's such a different pace. All right, come to set, you wait around, and then it's your time to go and you do something and you're wondering, was that funny? And then they try it a bunch of different times from a million different angles, and then it's go wait some more. And I thought, I don't know if this is my milieu.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is because I'm so reliant on getting into the flow with people and feeling it, and this idea of doing it almost surgically in a soundstage, and then we'll let you know in a year how this turned out.
Yeah.
Is very strange.
It's
but fascinating.
strange.
It's really fascinating.
I'm like you, bro. You need like validation that what you're doing is funny. Like I found myself in some of these scenes like cut, and I'm looking around going nothing. Like like.
And they're just there working their equipment. They're not,
Yeah.
What, guys, what? Someone die? No, we're checking levels and what are you talking about?
Well, even you see those like bloopers or whatever, like Jim Carrey's doing like something or Will Ferrell's doing something. And then the camera guy's like, it's shaking the camera, right? I'm looking for those moments, right? Nothing. Ain't getting any of this. No one's shaking. So you have to almost have like a feeling that this is I guess funny. I guess this is funny. I don't know. I mean, I had a different experience on the TV show where I just did with Chuck Lorre. Chuck Lorre, you could actually hear him laughing in the background.
Right.
So you go, oh, okay. Then I'm making one guy laugh. But yeah, this the movie was silence.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to seeing. I mean, listen, when we viewed it in a theater, people were laughing, but it's just not during the process.
Right. But it's such a different thing too, is the time lag. Also, I'm sure you were heavily involved in editing and, were you allowed to be in there?
I was allowed. I went in there. I didn't like dig deep into the editing. There was moments I go, I think there was a better take, and we looked at that, but I was like, not the whole like day in, day out editing of a film. I wasn't heavily involved in that. No.
Yeah. My experience is whenever I say, what about that other take that was really funny? Guys will just look at me and go, yeah, we looked at it. It's not funny.
Yeah.
And then my penis retracts up into my body. It takes months to lure it back out again. Put out little crackers and stuff for it. A 1980s Playboy, Adrienne Barbeau. Nothing. I said too much. Summer's here. Of course, summer's the time for everything fresh. Let me list a few. Fresh air, refreshing vacations, and plenty of HelloFresh to liven up meals. That's where I was going, HelloFresh. And with chef-crafted seasonal recipes and new fresh and fit summer menu, HelloFresh brings you flavor right to your door.
Yeah.
Now's the peak time for summer produce. HelloFresh makes sure you get all the best picks all season long. Delicious, fresh meals. Will make your home the place to be this summer. Pre-proportioned ingredients that help cut down on food waste and time, while step-by-step instructions make cooking a breeze, not a chore. HelloFresh combines quality and convenience with ingredients making it from the farm to your door in less than 7 days. Sona, HelloFresh saved your life.
I don't know if it saved my life.
As a cook, you're a disaster on your own, but when HelloFresh is involved, it's fantastic.
I didn't think that was the case, but yeah, I really liked HelloFresh. They sent me 3 meals. One was a chicken, one was a pork, and one was a fish.
Yeah, and fantastic.
I crushed it.
Yeah, and I remember going to your house once for dinner before you used HelloFresh, and you served me 1 meatball on an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
No, that's not a meal. What HelloFresh did is it totally upped your game. Congratulations, Sona.
That was a good meatball.
No, I'm not sure that was meat. Anyway, go to HelloFresh.com/TeamCoco50 and use code TeamCoco50 for 50% off plus free shipping. That's TeamCoco50 at HelloFresh.com/TeamCoco50 for 50% off plus free shipping. America's #1 meal kit. I could talk to you forever. I'm a big fan of your work. You really make me laugh, but I also appreciate that you are a very thoughtful guy, and you are someone who has taken his career really seriously and made it all happen through sheer force of will and a ton of talent. But you've put a lot of work into what you've done, And I hope that you are able to find moments of relaxation.
Yes.
And that's I think what, there's no such thing as I want to get to the point where I'm just blissfully happy all the time, because that means you've had a neurological accident, you know?
Yeah.
But what I'm hoping for is that you get better and better at finding moments where you say, Jesus Christ, look what I've done, and enjoy and say, yeah, I'm going to get the biggest lobster they have here.
Without the coupon.
Hey, Sebastian, thank you,
Thank you
so much for being here. And I'm excited for About My Father. I think that's so cool.
Thank you. And one more thing before we leave.
Yeah.
After we take the headphones off, right, we're going to do this. And then you're going, oh, yeah, that was fun, guys. And say,
Yeah.
Can I get your number?
Look, you just crossed the line. You just crossed the line. And what if you just said that and 4 security guards walked in quietly? Yes, you will get my number.
Okay.
You will get my number. And then we got to get wine at some point.
Yeah, no, we have a lot of parties at the house. Small, nice group of people. You come up and
I'm going to be loud and jokey even if I don't feel it. Even if I don't feel like this, the mood is right. If someone's up there talking about a disease they just got diagnosed with, I'm still going to go for it.
I think these are all children's birthday parties. So.
Oh, give me a crack. I kill at those things. I kill. All right. Well, thank you very much.
You got it.
It was great.
Thanks for having me.
I'm curious, what do you think drives you now? Because you have had so much success for a long time, but I can tell you take this very seriously and you are very driven. Is that your dad's work ethic?
Yeah, that was instilled in me at a young age, just like work. You got to work. You got to go out. I mean, I was working at Fuddruckers when I was 14 years old. That was one of my first jobs and never really stopped working since I was 14. So yeah, that definitely comes from my father. And, I don't know, for me, I felt like it was extremely fun coming up through the clubs and getting my first spot on your show and doing these things for the first time, no one really knowing who I was. It was exciting. Now, it's a little, the pressure is a little bit higher to, kind of maintain the standard,
Right.
Keep the jokes as good as they were. That's the whole thing. It's like, I did a comedy special that came out on Netflix this year, and I got kind of like people like, it's not as good as your or it's not as good as this, or not as good as that. So that never really happened to me before. Mm-hmm. And not that I'm sitting there looking at what people are saying, but if you got to be a fool not to like put your ear to the ground and go, is this hitting with people? I mean, are people kind of getting this? And I'm trying something different. I normally am a physical comedian, so this one I want, like, let me throw it back to the Rat Pack and wear a tuxedo. I don't wear a tuxedo because it kind of hinders my movement. I'm not as comfortable, but I'm like, let me do something different,
Right.
And I got some backlash of, he's not as physical as he once was. I'm 50.
No sympathy in this room. We all fought in the Korean War. Everyone in this room.
I died in the Korean War.
Yeah. And as a ghost, you're old. He's an old, out of shape ghost. A ghost with a low back problem. But but I mean, that's the other thing too is, to me, the biggest driving thing is, which I know it is, if someone's disappointed with something I've done, it makes me physically ill. Like, if they're disappointed in my comedic attempt, or if they're disappointed, it makes me so upset that I work hard to try and make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Now, it can still happen, but it's that fear of failure which doesn't diminish. You'd think it would diminish, and it doesn't. And if I'm someplace and it's a small group and I'm supposed to go up and give a toast or something, I get anxious. And if I feel like the toast wasn't good enough, and people are like, what are you talking about, a toast? It's, what are you worried about that for? I don't think that goes away.
No, that's with you. I could relate to that. My kid just had a birthday party, and I got on the microphone to kind of like, because we were going to play these games, these old school games at my kid's birthday party. So I got on the microphone, hey, everybody, we're going to do that. And I got off, and I go,
Oh my God.
I just felt like I let him down, you know, like professional comedian.
And
all
wasn't
your-
as good as last
all
year's
your-
kid's
yeah.
birthday party.
All you're doing is saying the pin, the tail, and the donkey's over here on the right, and the dunking board is over there, and the bouncy castle. You know, that's all you're there to do. No, I should have started with the bouncy castle. Then you elevate to the donkey. Shit. But no, I know what you're talking about because so much of comedy and performing and writing is choices, and I'm always second guessing the choices afterwards. And it's the same thing. It doesn't matter how small the stakes are. You know, you can still beat yourself up about it.
Absolutely. And you know, now that we're talking about this really happened last week. My daughter's birthday, and my wife and I went into, I guess, the parents read to the class on the day of the birthday of the kid. So we walk in, and we had our daughter's favorite book, and the plan was my wife was going to read half of it, and I was going to read half of it. So my wife starts to read the book, and she's burning through the book. And I just like, and I'm looking at this as as kids, and I go, give me the book. And I've never read to kids before. It's a group of 6-year-olds. I've never read to them before. I started getting into the book, and then I started like incorporating the kids and doing my own lines from the book. We hate Veronica, don't we? Yeah. And I told the teacher, I go, I'd love to read to the kids every Friday if I could. Could I be a TA?
Yeah.
But I just think it's innate. It's in us to, if we get a group of people, I think it's innate for us to not
two peas in a
disappoint.
pod.
This is a true story. It's so funny you bring that up. We're gonna have to hang out and get wine. I'm sorry, because there's too much common ground here. But when my daughter was younger, it was read to the kids day, and I went over, and this was to the school. You remember this? And I went over there, and I had a story to read. And the story, I remembered looking at it. It's only like 9 pages long because the kids are little. And I was like, there's not much to work with here. I remember thinking that, like flipping through it, like all I've got is 9 pages. So I go to sit down, and they go, okay, now, Nev's dad, Mr. O'Brien. And I sit down, and I notice that there's this like stuffed dragon right behind me whose face is kind of looking at me. So I kept doing these physical takes before I even read the book. I was like, well, kids, nice to see you. Hey there, and welcome to Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. And I do. I need a friend. It's never too late to become my chum, joined by Sona movsesian. How are you, Sona? Good to see you.
I'm doing all right.
You're doing okay?
Yeah.
And Matthew Gourley.
Hi.
And Sona, quickly, we should address the fact that you did lose your house in the fire, but you guys have found a new place that you might be moving into.
We have, yeah. In fact, I was there yesterday for an inspection, and I ran into a really nice man named Richard walking his dog.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I usually listen to you while I'm walking my dog. And,
wow.
Yeah. And I was like, I get to live by a fan.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, it is nice.
Yeah, well, you hesitated for a second.
No, I mean, like,
there's a lot of
great.
people.
It's good. It's good. It's a good thing. Like he's really nice, and it's a really nice place. And I'm excited not to live at my mom and dad's house.
Yeah, that sounded like. I mean, I love your mom and dad, but it can be difficult to live with your parents.
Yes.
Not meant to at a certain point.
Nope.
I'm guessing. Is it Nadia? Is it your mom who can she can wear on you a little bit sometimes?
Yeah, she can. Yeah.
She means well. She's well intentioned.
They are unbelievably so nice to let us stay there. But they watch a lot of Turkish soap operas.
What?
Yeah, it's like all day. I mean, not all day, but it's like a lot of Turkish because they're from Turkey. They're Armenian. It's important to note that, but they're from Turkey.
But wait a minute, where does one get? Because I'm constantly looking for Turkish soap operas.
I got a guy. You need some? I'll get you some.
Do you really?
No.
You know what's up? YouTube.
Oh, so they watch them on YouTube.
Yeah.
Do you follow the stories?
No, I don't watch it with them. I'm in my room watching TV on my laptop, like
You're
dork.
watching The Pit or something like
Yeah,
current.
I got really into The Pit lately. Yeah.
Do you ever? I mean, I'd just be curious. What happens in a Turkish soap opera? Are they the same kind of model as every soap opera everywhere? It's just it's Turkey.
I think the lighting is different. They're all gorgeous and have beautiful skin,
Mm-hmm.
and then they
Eduardo, you want to jump in
very
here?
dramatic.
I'm only familiar because my mom watches a Turkish novella. It's basically a Turkish soap opera, but the Spanish channels have put subtitles and there's people speaking in Spanish over them. And I asked her where they were from. She's like, oh, it's in Turkey. So they're popular, I guess.
Yeah, there's certain countries that have dominated. Like Korean soap operas are legit too.
My mother-in-law watches those.
Yeah.
Oh, really? And in my travel shows, whenever we can, I try to do a local soap opera.
Yeah.
And we've done them in a bunch of countries. And I cannot tell you how many times someone from Mexico has said, I look familiar to them, or they kind of know who I am, but they're not sure. And I say, I'll show you who I am. And I call up when I was on the telenovela.
Yeah.
That was in the Mexico City episode. And I show it to them, and they always enjoy it because I'm speaking Spanish the whole time, my version of Spanish.
Yeah.
And I love it because I have a mustache.
Oh, yeah. You always have a mustache.
I always try and have a mustache.
That's good.
And try and exude authority. But I love being in foreign soap operas, and I realize I haven't done a Turkish soap opera. I'd love to be in one.
Yeah.
No, you don't seem thrilled
I think you
about
could
it.
do it. You could do it.
I did an Armenian show.
Yeah, you did.
What, was it a crime show? I played a crime boss.
You played a crime boss. First of all, they tried to make you look Armenian, and it did not work.
Oh, that's right. I don't know what they did to me, but they painted dark wrinkles on me or something.
They put dark eyebrows, then they put a dark wig on you.
Yes, and on the palest man in the world.
Yes.
They gave me jet black, curly hair, and a crazy eyebrows. And I'm a drug lord.
Yeah, and you just
Kingpin.
ordered guys to beat up another person.
Yes, and I had to say it in Armenian, which was very
Do you
difficult.
remember your line?
No, I don't remember.
Hedike or Hedika, which
What's that?
means enough.
Hedika,
they were beating
him up, and I said enough. Hedika.
Yeah, and then you had a cigar in your
I
hand.
had a cigar in my mouth, and I just sort of was trying to be like the Tony Soprano of Yerevan, Armenia. But I have to say, done it in the new Max series for the second season. I did a medical drama.
Oh.
Like their version of The Pit.
Yeah.
I did a medical drama. It was in New Zealand.
Oh.
And I'm really excited for that to come out because I had to know all of this. They gave me an impossible amount of medical jargon because I think they really wanted me to fuck up badly.
Did you do American accent or New Zealand?
I didn't attempt the accent.
Yeah.
I did not. So sorry for that. But I think I did nail the medical jargon.
Do you remember your lines?
No, I don't remember my lines.
Oh. Did you guys ever watch American soap operas?
I did for a summer or two.
Me too.
Yeah.
My friend once lied to us when we were like 12 and said she made out with Austin Peck from Days of Our Lives, and we believed her. So we watched Days of Our Lives, and then we found out she didn't ever make out
How
with
old
Austin.
was she at the time?
She was like 14.
Oh, so he'd be under arrest.
But we didn't think of it that way. We're like, oh my God, she made out with Austin Peck, but she just lied to us. Just blatantly lied to us. And we believed her. And we all got into Days of Our Lives to support the guy that she made out
To
with.
support
Oh,
him?
wait, so how old was he at the time?
He must have been in his 20s. I have no idea. He had no idea who she was.
What an interesting, so she just stuck with this lie.
Just lied about it. And
Do
we
you
were
still
like,
talk to
oh
her?
No, that broke
That-
everything
that-
up.
oh, yeah, you could-
I wonder
she
how
lied
she's
about
doing.
a lot of stuff. She also lied. She said she was a model, and we were like, you're 5'2", but okay. Like, we believed everything she said. I don't
I
believe
wish
anybody
I had known you
now.
then because you were very gullible.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, can you give me some money? I'm an ATM. And I ran out. Okay, you don't look like an ATM.
I don't remember having to put cash into an ATM, but okay.
I guess they do have to be restocked. But you do have arms and legs and a head. Well, anyway.
I'm a baby that only eats wallets.
They're just so gullible. It wasn't just me. It was like my friend group.
But you're unfailingly honest. You didn't lie?
No. What do you mean? Lie about what?
You're a very honest person. So there are kids that will just say stuff. Like my brother Neil, growing up, he went to a different school than I did, and he would come home and he would just, I'd say, what did you learn today? And he'd say, oh, today we learned. And then he would just tell me things that were completely untrue. And I was just a little kid, so I believed him.
Yeah.
And you'd take them back to school thinking you knew some
Yeah,
stuff?
I'd say, my brother said...
Like he's so cool.
Yeah. He told me, oh, today we learned that there's a hole that they found in the earth, and they lowered a camera in it, and it went to the center of the earth, and they took a couple of pictures with it.
Luke.
Then they felt a tugging on the line, and they pulled it up, and the camera was all mangled, but they were able to develop the film, and they could see a T-Rex charging. And I was like, what? And he went, yeah, proof that there's a T-Rex at the center of the earth. And Neil's a couple of years older than me and knew better.
Oh, Neil did this.
This is Neil. Yeah. No. Luke was always like a priest. He was just really good and like, well, I wouldn't tell an untruth. Neil would just fuck with me all the time. He told me so many lies and still does. I talk to him every day. He's always lying to me.
Did you do that though to Justin?
No, I didn't lie.
Did.
No, I didn't lie to Justin. Justin was 10 years younger than me. He was a little kid. And so what I did to Justin was just broke his mind with strange games. So he just wanted to play cops and robbers. And I would say,
right.
yeah, I told you this, right? Yeah. And I would just tangle him up in paperwork. You drew your pistol. Funny. You drew your pistol. And he'd be like, what? You drew your pistol. There's paperwork. And I would get pads of paper from my dad's office. You need to fill out forms. It's a bureaucracy. That's a big part of being a cop.
That's worse than what Neil did to you, I think.
My neighbor saw The Shining before I did and told me about it, recounted it, and completely lied about it. And then when I saw it, was just forever wondering where. He said that Jack Nicholson got his arm cut off, and you know how a human can grow an arm back. He grows an arm back and all this stuff. And I just was expecting...
Was it a kid?
It was a kid, yeah. He was my age.
Oh, that's okay. Kids are just crazy. I think it's okay if you're a kid. I just for a moment I pictured like a 35-year-old neighbor, and then it's time to call somebody.
Wait, why are you guys getting on my case about believing that my friend made out with Austin Peck when you guys believed all this shit your brothers and your friend told you?
Good point.
You know
we were
what?
all dumb.
Can I say something? You just stood up for yourself in a way that I thought was deserved.
Yes, thank you.
And I don't know. I still think you're dumb, but
it doesn't change anything. It's impressive what you did.
Yeah, but I think of the three of us,
it's crazy that you believed that girl.
It is pretty stupid.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get this podcast going. My guest today, I am thrilled he's here. He starred in the Deadpool films and the FX series Welcome to Wrexham, which returns for a 4th season on May 15th. I am absolutely delighted he's here today. He's an incredibly talented screen actor, television actor, but also one of the funnier people you will run into in life.
Yeah.
He's crazy talented and a good soul. Ryan Reynolds, welcome.
You didn't leave the pause.
Oh, sorry.
Let's keep this in.
What did I do wrong?
You didn't leave the pause. We talked about this last episode. Before you say the name, you're supposed to.
I think I'm just excited that Ryan's here.
I understand. And I should have told you literally 7 years ago when we started this podcast. But
he was 15.
But you did remind him right before we started recording.
Yeah, but you know what you have to do is you have to hold up a sign that says pause because I'm a busy man.
Okay.
And I get excited when it's Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
All right, let's give you the pause.
All right.
I'm thrilled he's here today. Let's go. Ryan Reynolds, welcome.
Oh, the mouth noises.
I have to say, and there's no rhyme or reason to these interviews, but I've talked to you about this a while ago. Just Friends, I watched that with my wife. It was a movie that may have been mismarketed. I don't understand. It came out, didn't make a big splash. One of my favorite Christmas comedies. It has so many hilarious performances in it. And then we showed it to our kids.
Oh,
and
so good.
I mean, but everybody, it is a relentlessly funny movie. And I remember telling you a bunch of years ago, I swear to God, that movie will endure. It's gonna stick around. And
you don't know.
about those kinds of movies. I mean, you never know. You never know when you're making it. You're going like, oh, this is going to work. This is not going to work. You could, when you're older, I think you can trust your experience and your instincts that line up. But then when you're older, you also go, nobody knows anything. So, but Just Friends, we shot in Regina, Saskatchewan. It's one of my few times that I've ever been scared of like going to jail, because we, just as a joke, me and the art department, we made a sign that would would snap over the Welcome to Regina sign. And it just said, Welcome to Regina, which rhymes with fun. And I got in trouble though.
You got in trouble?
But then they thought it was funny because it snapped off. So at first it was vandalism.
Right.
And then it was class.
Then it was an art installment that could come down.
Yeah. And I come from RCMP. My brother is currently an RCMP officer. I always say, you guys should just say agent. It sounds better. You're an RCMP agent.
Isn't that Royal Canadian Mounted Police?
Yeah.
I believe I was a Royal Mounted Policeman in Canada. We did a week of shows in Toronto a long time ago, and one of the remotes I shot, I either was sworn in temporarily or we just stole the costume. Either way, I operated at the border. I threw snowballs at people trying to come in and out of Canada, dressed in that outfit. And man, I've never felt more power in my life.
And polite.
Yep. I had pancakes in my pocket.
Oh my God.
Instead of a gun.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Syrup, little cartridges of syrup.
Yeah. My dad used to bust guys with confetti. He would just like walk up and throw the confetti at you. And it's always fun when you and your brother have 3 older brothers. So it's just mayhem. It's actual mayhem. I mean, this is a horrible situation because I'm the youngest, so I'm the moving target. They're brothers. I'm just the moving target or harvestable organs. And we would. But as I got older, we would get out on the lawn, and it would be like an old fashioned like Tom Cruise and Far and Away with the knuckles up, and we would just beat the living shit out of each other.
Yes.
The neighbor would call the cops, and the cop would be my dad. And that's not a cop we wanted to mess with.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but my dad got out of copping. He wasn't big on the truth, so I don't know why. He got out of copping and then became a food broker, which we're like, come on, that's CIA, right?
Yes.
And he's like, no, I really am a middleman for jars of jam. And tiny yogurts.
What? He works for Meghan Markle.
Yes.
Really tiny jams, harvestable jams.
Yes, exactly.
Made from the oils of Montecito.
If Jimbo Reynolds wasn't dead, I would say he is Meghan Markle. Adjacent.
Many people have likened the two. There's so much to talk about here. I am thrilled that you've come on the pod. And you fascinate me and anger me and enrage me. Because you have the leading man looks and all the abilities that come with being a movie star. But when you send me a text, it is one of the funniest written texts that I've received. And I read, you blasted me a couple of weeks ago with these texts, and I was reading them, and I thought, this is a Class A comedy writer.
Well,
you have a comedy writer's brain.
That took me 41 days to compose that one. And it was a just in case. Before that, I had no idea I was going to be on the show.
I could tell it took a long time to compose.
Also,
you said day 9 at one point. You broke up the sentences.
Day 9. Me, Wilson, you. I basically, I think it was about like the, dwindling licensing rights at the Academy Awards show. And how the fate of the future of film and television, of course, is on your shoulders. Please don't fuck this up. There are a few 100,000 people who are like, very selfish and dependent upon, food and shelter.
Yes.
Adequate medical attention.
I was reading this thing, and I don't ever do this, but you sent me this really funny, and my son loves your work, really loves Deadpool. And he is a 19-year-old gentleman. And I just said, I never do this, but read this email. And he was laughing out loud.
Oh, that's great.
No. I mean, just it's really funny because I don't know you're in a class by yourself of people that can, I think, work both ends of that spectrum.
It's lonely at the top.
Oh, I know.
I know you know. We're up there together just holding each other.
No, I'm at a different top.
Oh, sorry.
You're at the
sorry.
big top.
Yeah. Oh,
you're at that top.
I thought
you're
you
at the top of like Everest.
Oh.
I'm at the top of a hill.
An anthill.
Oh, no, quite a sona.
I'm in the prairies, Canada. I'm in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, where the tallest hill is a
Kids
curb.
can sled on my hill that I
I can
stand
see
atop.
my house from the curb. Well, that's a very kind.
No. I know you're not going to like a compliment, but your facility, and also it's so perfect. I know it took you forever to get Deadpool made, and there's a whole saga of you saying, I know how to do this. This needs to be a movie, and I can't believe it took so long to make. But the Deadpool's facility with language and his sort of it's not just physical rubber man quality, but also the verbal alacrity you have to have. You've got that, and I'm thinking that's because your brothers beat you.
Yes.
Because I had older brothers too that beat me.
Yes.
And I don't have as much of it as you. They weren't as strong as your brothers, and my dad was a microbiologist, so he couldn't.
Fuck off.
So I'm saying he couldn't come in with that heavy cop energy. My dad came in every now and then with like a slide of a paramecium, and he'd say, "Now that's enough of that.
Yes.
I'll release this paramecium."
Spare the rod. Spoil the child with paramecium.
So what I'm saying is, you evolved into a higher being because you had more to contend with. That's what I say to you, sir.
I have exited some rooms through drywall. I'll say that. And my father was, he was definitely very. Well, I'm just going to say it, emotionally abusive, but no, he wasn't.
Jesus.
No. Not going to. My dad was. It's actually odd because my dad was tough and he was very, very like coiled. And I think as you get older, and he's passed away for, I don't know, 10 years now or so. Cause of death uncertain. No, he died of something tragic. But anyway, it was.
How do you get laughs with that line?
You shouldn't.
He died of something tragic. Big laugh from this side of the room.
Out of trust, I'm going to leave a large air hole now. Okay, and as I was saying, he was. The story changes when people pass away too. It's like your memory becomes like a less of a reliable narrator, and it becomes more of a feeling. Like I was saying, I'm pushing 50 here. I've had some experience. Under my belt, and I'm listening to. I'm realizing I don't know as much now. Mm-hmm. As I thought I did then. Yeah. So when I think about my dad and I think about how I internalized, however he was raising me and the other brothers and certainly his relationship with my mom, it's not what I started asking myself, is that true?
Yeah.
Is that true? Was he really that? Or was that more romantic to think of it like that? And he was not great in some ways. And in other ways, he was great. Like he really was. And I think it just, in time, that changed. When you die, they will love you.
We don't have to worry about that.
I know,
we will not have to worry about
bold
that
statement.
for 4 years.
Yeah.
So let's just settle down, everybody.
It's going to be like an ex-president. He's going to have a huge effigy built. The Conan O'Brien Library of the Bruce Valanche log of the Conan O'Brien Bruce Valanche Bible.
Yeah, he'll be giving the tours.
Oh God, yeah.
No, it's interesting you say that because I have the same experience. First of all, my therapist would say your dad did the best he could. Yes. And then I would say to my therapist, no, he didn't.
Oh, wow. See, I'd cry.
And then we'd fight. But but let that sit for a second. Your dad did the best he could, given what he had.
Yeah, he did. But he really did. My dad's dad would come home from his job. He was like a city councilman in Alberta and then moved to British Columbia. They bought their house for, I don't know, like a half glass of water and spit and like lived in this house. But he would get out there and mow the lawn after work and he'd take his jacket off, not his tie, and he would fold his shirt up one cuff and then mow the lawn. Like this is not a man who knows how to fuck. So, like very like conservative, right? I mean, Very
Well, wait a
conservative.
minute. Maybe
every
he
sperm
just
is sacred.
put up one and then the other and then jackhammer.
A Makita power drill.
I mean, I'm saying
Oh, Helen.
a lot of people assume I might fall in that category. But what I do is I put one and then I put the other up, loosen the tie a little.
And I show them how the Vikings took Iceland. Yes. No. So that's where
Is
he
that
come
how they
from.
did it?
Yeah. It's every bully has a bully, right? And, so he had those elements, but he showed up. He once went a long time without speaking to me, and it was over something trivial and dumb. And then he would never miss a game, never miss a football game, never miss a baseball game. Always there for a catch, even though it would be silent and super fucking awkward. He would do it. Yeah. And he had that guy had a right arm that you would not believe.
Yeah.
He broke the little bone in my finger. I had to switch to a catcher's mitt, and he did that underhand. So when people are like, "Oh, that's a softball question," I was like, "Have you ever fucking caught a softball from Jim Reynolds?" No, you haven't. So shut up about that sport. God, if pickleball were around, there'd be a lot of dead people. But no,
So my question is, did your dad get? Obviously, I think the answer is yes. He must have seen your career blow up, and was it unalloyed joy or was it complicated?
No, it was joy once I kind of, in his eye, whatever his measure of making it means, then it was.
Yeah.
Except, he didn't go to university, but he didn't talk about that. He had Parkinson's. He said the word Parkinson's maybe 3 times in his life. Also former boxer, who knows what, So he was very reserved with that, with praise, which is why I have an insatiable desire for validation. So we can unpack that later. Never. I love you guys. You don't need that.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. As someone who has no need for validation.
Absolutely not. But he would, when I quote unquote made it, I think then he accepted it. He's very bummed that I didn't go to university. I did though. I'm not making this up. I went for 45 minutes. I wanted to meet the one teacher. He was like a guy that Dr. McLean was his name. He got his doctorate in prison. He was, I think, a Hell's Angel or something, but went to jail for 20 years or something, long time. But got his education in jail and became an author and wrote a book. And I read this book. I went there. I met him. Beautiful, lots of prison tattoos, but also beautiful pastel sweater. And then I walked back out the door of Kwantlen Polytechnic University in British Columbia, and I drove to Los Angeles.
So you went in knowing I'm going to meet this one gentleman, and then I'm turning around and I'm going to Los Angeles.
Yes.
Okay, so you knew.
Well, no. I really knew once I was inside. I just thought, I'm not ready for this. I don't think I can do this. I only had one brother who really was adamant about going to university, and it stressed the hell out of him. And I just thought, I don't want to be a food broker. So, my dad did it without a university education. So,
did you do Groundlings when you got to LA? I think
I did do Groundlings, but I moved to LA to be in Groundlings. And I, of course, it doesn't work like that. You don't just show up and go, ready for the main stage, everyone. I can give you strides, I can give you everything you want. No, you go through the class.
That's what I did.
You did it.
When I showed up in LA and I was like, I'm ready to perform. And they said, you will take these classes.
Yes.
And I said, yes, I will.
Yes, you will.
And I did, but at least I got stage time.
That's the thing.
And got to improvise with some great people.
Well, they're so good. They're all so in shape, and they're like, you know what I mean? That's a muscle, like that kind of ability.
I thought you meant physically.
Physically? No. God, these are comedians.
No, I've never been in shape.
That's why I was
People
confused.
fighting about
Yeah.
No. They get home and just vanish
But
into a jar of something. No.
But I would think you, as an improviser, that would be. I could see you being devastating as an improviser. I think it would be that'd be your fun space. Just in the times that I've encountered you, we start fucking around instantly, and I could see like, oh, this is someone who wants to play 24/7 is the vibe that you give. I don't know if that's
but
true.
also I would say that you are a person that does it as well, but you can also pivot quite quickly to something that's emotional, because most people that are funny, I think, have some pretty, they're deeply emotional people as well. I think like comedy and drama subsist on the same thing, tension. Subverting it moves you. And if you have a film that has emotion, then you can, or anything, redemption, call it whatever you want, but it makes all that funny stuff so much more funny and rich and powerful. So I loved Groundlings when I did do their shows. I used to do once in a while, like a Thursday cooking with gas show they had. And I would do, I think I did Armando a couple times here. And then I loved it because there was no limit to it. But on a film set, I don't want to, it's almost like method acting. I'm not going to, when people are coming on a film set, a Deadpool film, anything, I'm not going to make my process their process.
Right. So
I'd never want to be that guy. So I always chat and we talk and we say, okay, so how can I help you feel awesome? And even an actor who's a day player who comes in for one day, that's the hardest job in show business, because he's got 2 lines. And he's going to over the fuck do it like you wouldn't believe.
Yes.
Because in his mind, there's no small parts, just small actors. I gotta crush the shit out of this. And then if you can make it safe, I always love the...
Your soup, sir!
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to liquefy you and I'm going to snort your ashes on the top of the plastivage. Just to say I did it.
Yeah.
But I always say to them when they're leaving, you say, "Hey, look, if there's going to be that moment, you're going to drive home, and when day players, you drive yourself home, and if you have to touch everything in the car too, by the way, you're going to get in that car and you're going to go, I should have done that." And then I was like, then we go okay, take 10 minutes and think about what that is, and then let's go do that. And it's like this fun little trick. And then you do that. And then you say, now do the worst version you can do. I'm telling you, you're safe. We'd never use the worst version. You trust me. But do the worst. And then that's always the take that ends up in the show. Because now you've basically said you're as safe as you could ever imagine.
Yes.
And I love that feeling. So I'm not my improv is I've written 10 alts for each joke, but not just for me, but for my co-stars, and it's here's a menu. Is there anything you'd like here? Wesley Snipes was just nope. I was like, you did not read that fast. Come on, this one had a beginning, middle, and end. Come on.
Wesley Snipes has gotten pretty far on nope.
Yeah. Oh my God. But then he delivered. He was I gave him
fantastic.
this ice skate uphill line. He was like,
There-
I'll do it.
There was
Great.
when I watched Deadpool and Wolverine, I'm thinking the credit sequence at the top.
That served 9 purposes pretty much, but yes.
I'm hard pressed to think of how much was packed into one film. Yeah. And to just be watching, so my son and I love that. We were going to that movie and something went awry and we got there and I just said, oh, trust me, we're just going to miss 2 seconds up top. And I think we missed 45 seconds of the opening.
That would have hurt. That would kill me if I knew that.
It killed me to the point that we went back and watched it later on. But it's rare that you can miss 45 seconds of a movie at the top and feel oh shit, I missed some sweet, sweet syrup, because the whole thing was jam-packed.
You just missed me singing along to the Marvel theme song. The bum, 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 bum. Marvel. They're so stupid. Give my own movie. But they were amazing. You could Bob Iger was, he saw the film, and the first time he saw the film, it was in pretty good shape. And he said, you gotta remove the one line, Ryan. And I was like, what line? He's like, you know the line. And I went, Mickey Mouse? He's like, yeah. Yeah, and I was like, but Bob, the whole movie orbits around that line. That line is the film. It's the thrust, the thesis. It's everything.
Right.
And it's because my brain, when he says the one line, is precious.
Yes.
Must keep the line. And so I really had to kind of walk around his office a little bit, do a couple of laps, and then it was fine. We were good. We switched it up. And he just didn't want the Mickey Mouse joke in. And now it got, not because of me, they released the script for like WGA, awards season and stuff, and they just shower these kinds of movies with awards. So, I was dancing behind you and trying to suggest things at the Academy Awards.
Yes, you were.
What we're calling the Academy Awards situation.
Yes.
You were in the situation.
I love that nobody knows that when I hosted the Oscars, that really was you as Deadpool.
Oh my God!
No one knows.
Well, yeah. Most would assume arthritis at this stage of the game. Nope, they have pills for that too.
I have a question, which is, you have this skill set. Did you have an idea of what you wanted your trajectory to be? Would you have been happy if TV had hit and that had worked out, or did you always know like pretty much where you wanted to end up?
Well, it's so different now. It's like now people who are in film are hoping to gain enough respect to get a TV show.
Right. If I could get White Lotus.
Get a limited series.
Yeah.
I know everything happened perfectly. My whole career was an aggregate. It was very slow. I never experienced that overnight fame thing. And I think about how lucky I am, because a lot of the guys that I came into the business with are gone, and a lot of them are passed away, or took these tragic turns where you hear about it, one random Wednesday, you're like, what? You just can't.
Wait, these are friends of yours?
Yeah, in Los Angeles, when I first moved here, I lived in East Hollywood, and everyone was partying, everyone was doing, this and that. And it was scary. It's a scary place to, to be young and to have fame and money is a very, very odd combination of things. And I thankfully was so slow with everything. I wouldn't consider like I'd sort of hit it in a way. When you asked me earlier, when my dad, he never made it to Deadpool. Like he never made it to that coming out. He made it to, I was in post-production on October 25th in 2015 when he passed away. It was 3 months earlier. My daughter James is named for him. So he's James Reynolds. James does not like it when I call her Jimbo.
She'll grow to love it.
Or James, yes. I know. And that's our dog, Hawk Tua. Okay, you know what? I'm going to stop naming things.
Yeah, don't name anything anymore. Here comes my parakeet Adolf.
Yeah. Oh, God. Poor sons of bitches around that time, right? Who had that, stuck with that name. God damn it. I mean, we had a feeling at his first speech, right? That putsch, the putsch? It was nuts. We went nuts. I don't know what the fuck we were talking about, but
your trajectory, but you just you took it one step at a time.
Yeah, and I think it allowed me to enjoy it, like in points. I'm always uncomfortable with the thing that I'm also pursuant of, right? Like your fame is a weird thing. It has a little power to it. It's odd, but like I found a way to kind of make myself appreciate that part of it more, because I love acknowledging and playing with the cultural landscape, whether it's in a movie, a commercial, sports. Like I don't care. I don't discriminate. I love that they're in all those areas. So sharing fame made it way, way less weird for me. Like when like a kid comes up and says, "Can I get a selfie with you?" I'm like, "Who's the most important person in your life?" And they're like, "My dad, Frank." And I'm like, "Video." I switched to video. And I'm like, "Frank, I'm here with." Fuck's your name? Will. This is not a hostage situation. He's fine. But you're the most important person in his life. You're the one. You were the phone a friend. That was you. And then you let it go. It takes just a few seconds longer than a selfie.
Yes.
But like now it's a fucking memory for them forever.
Yeah.
And it's a thing that happens. And I walk away feeling like good.
It's a great philosophy. You will attest. I pursue people who don't want a selfie with me.
Oh, God, yeah.
And say, come on, you're going to like it. It's going to be funny. I've chased children into
Give
traffic.
me your phone.
Give me your phone. It'll be good. It'll be good. Who's the most important person in your life? You don't know who you are.
Oh, my God.
So there's neediness and then there's neediness, but they will enjoy that one day.
No. I once made a video for lorazepam. Somebody said lorazepam was the most important thing in their life, and I was like, okay, well, I'll make a video for that, sure.
I've seen it. They air it now.
Yes,
that's a lot of money
at the end.
You missed out on.
And I just want to say, because I have to say this now every time I bring it up, is that if you're having clay-colored stool or any other side effects, please consult a doctor immediately. Lorazepam. I feel like me again. Trademark. Pfizer Corporation. You can bleep those out, right?
No, we're going to get that money.
Okay, good.
Thank you very much.
They got a lot.
We will not
of money.
share it with you. You will get none of
The
it.
clay-colored stool thing really costs them a lot too, because like you don't want that. You don't.
Or do you?
Or do you?
You can pass it off as clay in an art class.
If you listen to it while if you're on the toilet and you put some Unchained Melody on, and that comes out, you're like, it's never gonna happen. But if
humble for your touch, and Tack is holding you, and you're both on the toilet.
This is
it's you, Sona.
No.
that's why they have reverse toilets, so you can sit this way.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I've never done this before, but can we just turn off the mics? Just cut it. Just cut the whole
Wrap
thing.
early.
I used to work with a studio executive who will not be named until we stop recording. And he always aimed it at someone, whoever's talking. Like, whoa.
Jesus.
Over here? Huh? Yeah. What do you mean, Jesus?
I mean, yes, we'll do your idea.
Yeah, no,
If it means you don't point your crotch at me.
I'm going to, for those at home, Conan just went back in his chair and then aimed his crotch at everyone he was speaking to. Yes.
I learned from the best.
Yes, he did.
You learn from the best.
And that man could use some underwear, I tell you that much, because that also is,
We are in a moment where, of course, politically, there's some tension between Canada and the United States over tariffs. What do you guys send us? What do we send you? And it occurred to me today that we have been getting some of the greatest comedians and comic minds and actors of all time from Canada. I don't think we've sent you shit. I don't think we've exported much to you in the comedy realm. And I think if someone were to do a reckoning just comedically, and you started to add up the Ryan Reynolds and the Martin Short and the Lauren Michaels and the Mike Myers, and it just goes on and on and on. There's too many to even begin naming.
Seth Rogen went to the high school up the hill from me. Yeah,
there you go.
No, Seth Rogen went to high school.
Oh my God, he can read?
Yeah, fluent.
A lot of kids who go to high school can't read.
No.
You can pass.
I had to do a commercial in French Canadian the other day, and it was sort of like a very scary thing, because when you're in those schools, you have to know French Canadian. You have to speak it fluently.
Yes.
And it goes away. It just goes away. If you don't use it, it's gone. So I was trying to do a commercial French Canadian. It's just like
this is
everything.
a terrible sob story.
So
you're French Canadian.
It's French Canadian.
You're straight. You should do a really sad tour where you go like, people think I've got it all.
No, yeah.
Ryan Reynolds, but I can't speak French Canadian.
Until I asked for a pastry in Paris. And they're like, oh, is that French Canadian you're speaking? Chocolat pour moi, yeah, not good. We realized that Canada does have a lot of fun.
But what I'm saying is, you've sent us, and I'm thinking, what have we sent? What have we sent you guys? It's not a fair. There's an imbalance. Bird flu.
Thanks. Thank you.
So there's an imbalance of trade in that respect. And that's about as political as I get. But I think it's got to stop. And it's got to stop now.
Yeah, it's got to stop now. That's a good...
yeah.
I've had the Aykroyd voice in my head all day. You've heard me doing my bad impression, but I can't get it out. It's
now,
like
you've had
I can't get it out. Out, kid. I'll tell you what, kid. Fuck off back to Canada.
Dan Aykroyd, legendarily funny guy, but not someone. He's an unusual man. You don't meet a Dan Aykroyd every day, and
one of the more underrated, though, I think, talents.
Oh my God!
One of the smartest people you'll ever talk to. But yeah, eccentric.
But we were talking about how his comedic ability to. I mean, he did it on SNL in so many ways, but to fire information out of his mouth in with great authority and accuracy.
No one else could do that like him. Like, he could pump like half of the movie's boring exposition, make it funny, make it entertaining into your mind in like a third of a second. It was I've never seen someone speak as fast as Dan Aykroyd does. In Ghostbusters, he has a speech that must have been that long on the page, and it just comes out. And you know it. You still hear it all. That's the trick. And I just think I think I'm a little obsessed with him in some ways.
So he invited you to hang with him a little bit, right?
Yes.
But then he also wanted you to take off at some point.
Yeah, you got to come up here to Ontario, kid. And then we're going to eat dinner, and you're going to sleep over, and then in the morning we're going to do the interview, and you're going to fuck off back to where you came from. That's what we're going to do, kid. Bring an extra order Canada pin for me, yeah? And put it on, and we'll do it. Let's go.
You know what I love is There's a reason he made the Dragnet movie because he is Jack Webb in some ways. I
Yes.
think he is Jack Webb.
Oh,
because Jack
100%.
Webb, if you ever watch old Dragnets, it's all Jack Webb just spitting out all this information, really square cop, 1960s. These are bennies. Those are high. If he'd have in his palm, he would have a list or a whole bunch of pills, and he would rattle them out really quickly. Those are blue butterflies. You know, and it was hilarious. And then he did the Dragnet movie with Tom Hanks, and he was fantastic at it.
That was back when like the miscellaneous line item on a production report is just like all cocaine. You're like, and then you guys spent $80,000 on miscellaneous in one night. What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always the thing. Dan also shows like a thing a bit that John Candy, you know, I think you saw in Planes, Trains, which is where you're seeing a performance. It's heartbreaking, funny, vulnerable, and all the reasons I have always been and will always be very much in love with Mr. John Candy. But Dan Aykroyd, if you've ever seen Grosse Pointe Blank, he gives the most unexpected villain performance I've ever seen. It wasn't over the top. It was just grounded and weird, and it's infinitely watchable. When I finally tracked him down because he's elusive, I said I owe him money because I've stolen so much from him that I believe I owe him $41 million. Yeah, 41.
Don't put that on paper.
No, not at all.
Because he'll take it.
I heard him jot it down, though. But no, he's just a real gentleman too. Like really, you know, just made a good stuff.
And he sells a tequila that comes in a skull.
Vodka. Crystal skull vodka. Because he's really into actual crystal skulls, right? And aliens.
And UFOs. And aliens.
Yeah, but come on.
Did you try any?
Did I try? I think I've tried everything that exists at some point. You know, trying it twice, right? Yeah.
Clay-colored stool.
Yes, that
you
one,
can
unfortunately-
You can smoke it.
We don't have to go back
Yeah, but
there.
don't smoke the lorazepam. Because I also have another PSA for that, and you don't want those side effects. Oh my God! Or baby formula. Don't smoke baby formula.
Are we going to list things you shouldn't smoke now?
Yes, most of them. When you smoke, you don't know you're peeing anymore for the rest of your life. You're like, oh, it's warm. Now it's cold.
It's warm and comforting all of a sudden.
Yeah, but now
like the womb,
little stingy, little cold. No. But I was never big on all of that.
Me
probably why I'm like, as I come down a real heavy case of Alive.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do a non-alc commercial for like one of those, I wrote one, I haven't figured out how to end it all yet, but like where people do the same things drunk people do, except on their non-alcoholic beverage.
Yes.
Choice, where they're like, the next morning they're like, there's a woman who's like, I went out with Gail and the girls the other night, and I don't drink, but I had a one-night stand with this guy. And then the camera just shifts over to him, and he's like, and let me tell you something, I don't drink either. And I felt everything, and she's like, I was awakened. And basically says, we got crazy in the middle of the night, and we just decided, fuck it, let's have a baby. And we just met. I didn't know his last name. And basically experiences that each person has that you would like the groom at or the best man at a wedding, gives a speech that's just fucking profound, and it's not like just the letter L for 5 straight minutes and then like an anecdote about himself. Just nails it. Toe pick, everything. So I've always wished that was like the angle. That's the angle. That would be fun with a little.
You could have been in advertising. You missed out.
Yeah.
Because I can tell when you do whether it's Mint Mobile, and I'll give you guys a plug. I think it's a fine service.
That's okay. Yeah. It is a fine service. It's very good.
Your ads are very funny, and I get the impression that you are behind them or steering them because you have that kind of brain. You like to say this is a commercial, but also call out that it's a commercial.
They know they're being. I mean, consumers know they're being marketed to.
Yes.
So don't do.
Yes.
It's not a very special episode of Dharma and Greg. It's a fucking. It's a fucking Tide Stick commercial. Yeah. But it's why I like them, and it's sort of. It's not just me. Certainly, I have some of the greatest, smartest people that, quite frankly, I find threatening. Who I get to work with. I mean, Sean Levy, who I've done 3 movies with now. It's like a brain trust, and there's a real. I mean, every movies that you sort of quote control are like that. You're not controlling it; they just trust you. You said like, "Hey, I'm gonna land the plane." I remember trying to get my Deadpool and Wolverine movie made, and I just focused on that. I was like, I will return your investment. Like, I will return I've got you. Like, I am not a reckless, pilot. I will land the fucking plane on a dime. It will be a 4-quadrant R-rated film. I'm going to make Disney's first 4-quadrant R-rated film. And this is after they said no to 18 different things, including a movie where Deadpool is after the hunter who killed Bambi's mom. They said, we don't touch Bambi. And I said, you said you don't touch Mickey Mouse. We don't touch Bambi and we don't touch Mickey Mouse.
You know what? Given the profits and what you've shown, I think you can do it now.
Yeah, we did, and it's like but that's a part of our responsibility too, as people to produce the movie, and we co-write the movie, and we're act all those things. It's like making sure it like works, because I've done movies that are small films that are in Sundance and all that stuff, and I loved making them, and they were hard to make, and they would get great reviews and everything, but then you'd find out later it just bankrupted whatever little tiny studio made it. And I thought, I'm going to be out of work. They're getting out of work. I got to find a job that fits. So it's a win-win. If I want to do it for the rest of my life, I'm going to have to figure that out. And then it grew to all of it, like all the other things. I loved commercials when I was a kid. Like, if you saw a good commercial, it stayed with you.
Yes.
And I was one of those kids like you probably were. You're sitting there 2 inches from the TV and just trying to stay up as late as humanly possible.
Because TVs back then ran on plutonium.
Oh my God! Right?
And
I
my
know.
face
He's
was melting.
22. By the way, and that is
scarred for life.
Oh God, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. No, it's just
we sometimes turn off the lights in the studio, and I'm a grinning skull.
Yeah, just the teeth whitening has got to stop. The biggest change for me was Green Lantern, because it was it didn't work, and it was I watched a studio throw money at problem after problem after problem instead of creativity. Constraint is the greatest creative tool in the world, and that's why I like commercials, because there's an economy to them. You have to make them quick. You have to be not precious about them. It's a fucking commercial. Who cares? It doesn't have to be a Fellini film. It'll either work or it doesn't, or it moves at a speed of culture, so it's at least relevant. Like, it's an easier way to kind of fix it, But that movie was where I changed my life, because I just saw money.
You saw this is going down, or this isn't. I don't think this is coming together, and they're just throwing more millions at it.
Yeah, and it was really like that's hard for everyone, because you're too much money, too much time will murder creativity. Like, you're under constraint. Like, the next movie I did was Deadpool, which had a $56 million budget, I believe, which is nothing. Like, I think they probably spent $250 on Green Lantern, and this one had nothing. So you had to supplant or change all of these action spectacle set pieces into movies that, like, you remember the dialogue, not the thing, because audiences also are inured to special effects. Like, the world in danger, I was like, I loved the characters. Like, I don't give a shit about the world. Like, I care about those people,
right?
And no one else. Really.
I've been saying this. I've been saying this for years. I refuse to see a movie. At a certain point, I declared I will not see a movie that has a portal. If a portal opens,
God,
we did use the portal.
I know,
but we did call it the Marvel Sparkle Circle.
Yes. You had fun with it and made fun of it. There are so many movies where clearly they don't know what to do. So what they have is 6 people put the 9 stones together, and then the sky opens and anything can come out, and it doesn't have to make sense.
I love that this is your cause, because most people are like, oh, politics and kids these days, and you're like on your porch. Portals! I saw another portal today.
Yeah.
It used to be get off my lawn. It's get out of my portal.
A dragon made of fire and lava came out of the sky and punched Captain America, who's a strong man.
Yes.
And he fell down, but then got up and punched the dragon, and it went flying.
Preach, sister.
I'm sorry. I know that there's people think there's problems with racial inequality, gender inequality. There's a poverty in the world.
Don't even get us started on tariffs.
But all of that can be fixed by portals if you'll just allow it.
No, a dragon will come in and smash it all. It's bullshit.
I loved the use of it because you could say anything in the Deadpool movies. We just, I loved watching Kevin Feige watch the thing back. Got together where Deadpool's like, he's like, listen, we don't have to do this. There's a big fight about to happen, and they're like, no, we're gonna fuck you up, or whatever the line is, and he says, no, I'm not. I mean the multiverse. It's not working. It's not great. It's just been miss after miss after miss. It's been 2 Ant-Mans forward and 1 Black Adam back, and it's not working. And Kevin wince on each miss after miss.
So funny.
And yeah, but then what a sport!
But you make a really good point, which is that I do find that that's what's missing is a good movie gives you a couple of people, and if they're doing it right, you really care about them. I know it sounds corny, but I was watching The Third Man, Orson Welles, just
Vienna,
and I watched that a couple nights ago, and God, they had me caring about these 3 people in Vienna in 1948. And I think the movie cost $11. But, oh my God, it's fantastic. And I do think that CGI had people thinking, oh, we don't need that so much as long as, because people really care that portal gets closed.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm not sure they do. They don't really care if the portal gets closed.
He's back on him.
I'm sorry.
Back on the portal.
I know, we got right back. I knew we were going back there.
Listen,
Feel the gravity.
Oh my God.
The scene that we've seen so many times where one character is on one side of the glass, and there's the radiation, and it's Deadpool.
I spocked him.
Yes, Deadpool, Wolverine, and it's the parody of that scene. And one of the things that, in a weird way, I got suckered into caring. I was caring about the people in the scene, and then you start fucking around. And
Once I did it just to make Hugh laugh, and I swear to God, there's one. It's actually we had to realign my head a couple times because the going down the stairs it didn't work quite well. So we were like rejiggering it, trying to get it right. But I just did it to make Hugh laugh. Because there he is, shirtless, hasn't had a carb since the 80s. He's like, oh my God, can we just get through this scene so I can have a bagel? And, I'm fucking around. It's just terrible. A horrible friend. Yeah.
It's so sad. The first time he said it, I thought he said to make you laugh.
I thought so too.
And I thought he was saying, Conan, I put that in just for you. And then I realized, no, he means Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
And I suddenly lost interest in you as a person.
Well, I actually had the same problem with the Whitney Houston song. Oh, the Dolly Parton song. But I always thought it was Hugh. I always loved Hugh. And then I was like, wait, you?
No, she meant it. She wrote it about Hugh Hefner. Yeah. Which is weird because it's very sexist.
Yeah.
She likes that he's commodified women's sensuality. I don't know. It's
commodified. That word's come up 3 times today.
It has?
Yeah. I was sitting next to someone who said commodified, and I was like, I think you mean commodified. And he's smart as shit. I was like, so I felt the power in that moment, right? I was like, oh, I have something over you right now, don't I?
No, I knew what I was doing because I've trademarked co-modify.
Oh.
I got you to say it.
You and McElhenney, because it was McElhenney. Robert Copernicus.
McElhenney was walking around here earlier. You guys were working on something in our...
we often use your office, yeah.
I let you use my office to shoot a major film.
Yes.
No, one of your, I think for your Wrexham project, you guys were shooting something. And I said, yes, of course, mi casa, su casa, which I believe is, I think that's Spanish, I think.
Yeah, that's German.
Oh, that's German. Yes, mein casa.
Mein casa, yeah.
Su casa, but it's angrier. Anyway, I saw you when I first walked in. I see you and I see McElhenney and I give you a hug. And it's like, this is Ryan Reynolds takes good care of himself, works out. I hug you and I'm like, well, this is an impressive lad.
Yeah.
And then I turn to McElhenney. I hug him. That guy is
I know.
Alabaster.
Yes. No, hard as a rock.
Hard as a rock.
Me, hard as a rock right now. He is...
Just describing it, you're hard as a rock.
Right, 100%.
McElhenney's. I saw him without his shirt. How you feeling now there?
Yeah, you guys were expertly lit and in slow motion in my mind when I saw you guys coming together. No, McElhenney, don't sleep on that body. Sleep on it if you can. Happily married though, so don't try. But he's a rock. He's a beast.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So yeah, Rob, I treat with respect.
You better.
With kindness.
Yeah.
Occasional condescension, and that's about it. Yeah. Mostly just those things. But he did say commodified, which is not great.
Yeah, he fucked up, not me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that.
Just finished 2 years of just in the guts of something, with I always think of when they say filmmakers, like Sean Levy is more like a brother. We say we just love each other. We're 3 movies together. We're going to do a 4th one at some point. But that like filmmaker word is not broad enough though, because like it's so, when movies work, you guys talked about this on one of the shows. I think it was like Adam Scott. How like they're hard to make a movie. A movie's hard to make.
It's impossible.
Yeah, like everyone has to be excellent, like really and care. People sort of underestimate how valuable caring is. And when you work with a props department or a production designer who in his cells wants to make the best possible. Our Deadpool and Wolverine, Ray Chan, he passed away unfortunately on our last fucking day of shooting too. It was really sad, but it was one of those things where in post we got to put Easter eggs of him everywhere in the movie, but that movie would never have done what it did or connected with people the way it did without this guy. And I consider a production designer a filmmaker. Sometimes a costumer is a filmmaker. Sometimes it's a cinematographer. It's just it's a more vast a pool than I think people realize. There's a lot, like, it's part of why it changed my trajectory when I was at the right time was, you do a movie and you're working with people who, if there's one person in charge and that is it, my way or the highway, you get everyone into a yes sir, no sir. Like when I pitch a joke, I'm always like, okay, here's the shittiest version possible. What I'm actually doing is inviting dissent. I want you to disagree with me, because then we're going to have fun. It's going to get better.
Right.
And you may have an idea that it's amazing that you suppressed because I'm like, this is the way. But it's that pool always has to be expansive, and then you make great stuff. And then it's why movies are like, I was so happy you were hosting the Oscars, because like I think you've now and have always understood the joy of collective effervescence. It's why you work in front of a live audience a lot too, which is why some French.
You make things with people, which is always the magic. This is a group of us. If you have a good audience, you can make them part of it. I think it's coming from a family.
That's another example of why I love this man. And now
you got to say my name because they might be confused.
No, he's pointing to me.
No, Gail. Cone. Has anyone ever gone cone?
They've never gone cone.
Okay, let's not do that. The reason I love you is that you don't punch down. Like, it's not your vibe, and it's a good.
Oh no, I would very much like to be the joke.
These are the best targets. Yes, me too. Like I've done it. I did it once in my life, and I deeply, deeply regretted it. And it was 22 years ago, and it was such a lesson they'll never forget. And I said something on late night, but it was a little bit like when the comedian or the guy with the microphone starts picking on someone, and you're just like, they don't have a microphone as well. It's not fair, and it's and it just that left a mark that I'll never ever.
Yeah, you can't
forget.
If you think you've really hurt someone's feelings, you can't, as crazy as it sounds, and you're in comedy, if you really think you've hurt someone's feelings, unless it's Mussolini or Stalin.
Oh, fuck. How did you know?
You have
George
trouble, like,
you.
You can't sleep.
Yeah.
You wake up and you're just,
wide awake. It was, and the person, it gets worse. I wrote a long note to the person afterwards, and I said, I don't know why that came out of my mouth. And it was because I'd seen them like a couple days before. Near the apartment I was renting in Santa Monica. This is so long ago. And I wrote a long letter to him, sent him a case of champagne. I don't know. I was young. No one drinks champagne, right? I don't know. Later I read a story about his wife saying that he fell off the wagon back in June. And I had no idea. This was before, you don't just Google someone. I didn't know.
So you mocked him, and then your apology
My
was to
apology
send
ruined
him
his
the
life.
substance
Yes.
that he had successfully kicked.
Fuck me. Like I really, and then so that's where I got the lesson to never apologize. Never.
And if you're listening right now,
ground.
don't apologize.
Yeah, no, I he's fine and
He's fine
wonderful and may I say thriving. But yes,
I
that
will
was a
tell you that
hiccup
I have had the same thing just like twice in my career where I said something, it just slipped out of my mouth. I'm doing a volume business. It got back to me that the person's feelings were hurt and it felt like I had been shot. And I wrote a letter and sent it to them. Like, I'm so sorry that you know.
That means everything. I mean, as parents, you see, I mean,
exactly.
Blake and I do that all the time with the kids. If you if you get down, kneel down to their level and you say, hey, last night when you wouldn't, go to bed and you did all the street art on the wall, I could have handled that better. And I wasn't great. I wasn't good at dadding. And I'll even do the do-over. I'm like, can I try? Can you make some more street art over there, but on the paper, and I will come in and I'll do it again better.
I love that you're asking for a retake.
Yeah, basically that is what I'm doing. I'm imposing.
Let's go again.
Who doesn't want a child actor?
Sociopathic monster.
Let's skip showbiz and just enroll you straight into cocaine right here, and then go into showbiz with all your injuries, emotional injuries. Yeah.
We have to wrap this up because we've kept you for too long, and you're a man in demand. You are one of my favorites. I say that at the end of every podcast.
I know.
Sometimes I'm talking to
react.
Sometimes I'm talking to absolute criminals in jail,
Yes.
and I say you're one of my favorite people, and I believe you're innocent of those 19 murders.
Yes,
which you would confess to.
Jay Leno fell. We were all looking for the Hampton Inn.
You pushed him down that hill.
Who doesn't look for a Hampton Inn when you're a millionaire?
Ryan, you are so fast. You were so fast and so funny and making so many people happy. And I'm thrilled that we could spend time today and hang out.
I've never seen 4 hours go by as fast as it just did. No, I'm serious. This is one of those things where when I could tell in your voice it's time to wrap it up, and I got genuinely sad.
Oh.
Because you are an idol of mine. You are somebody who I've watched and, dare I say, at the risk of overpraising, look up to. And always have, always will. Because you're kind, you have integrity, and that doesn't mean it costs you subversive comedy or any of those things. All that edge is there, and it is a high bar you set. You always have. And that's why I did the Jay Leno thing. I fucking snapped. And
I don't know what you're talking about. I forget everything before 2010. It's all gone.
But you didn't forget my wire numbers. Ooh, Cayman Islands.
Ryan, thank you so much, and God bless. I bless
much.
you, and I am a god. So
I know
God
you
bless
are.
you.
Yeah, I know you are a deity. Deus? What is that? Isn't there that?
No,
what they
Deus
call
is the thing you stand behind when you talk.
Code-modified.
Well, hey, at least we
Code-modified.
stopped the landing going out. That's the important thing.
Also, we talked about a lot of Canadians. Thank you for that.
I'm saying, and there's a huge trade imbalance here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, we're going to work on that.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a caucus. Is that what we say? We caucus on it. We're
Okay,
gonna
don't do that.
legislative
Keep it clean.
branches. Your worship in Canada. That's a fun one.
Yeah.
You have to say your worship to the judge.
Do you have the little honor of Canada yet? Have you had
I
that?
do have it. Yeah.
Okay.
You know who one of the people I think wrote the letter was Lauren.
That's nice.
He's a nice man. I think he won't admit to it.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
Go with.
Thank you guys.
Go with-
Thank you all.
Go with blessings.